Ladies and gentlemen, there is a silent battle waging within the soul of every man and woman who dreams of greatness. It does not wear armor, nor does it march with swords. It creeps in quietly, disguised as pleasure, masquerading as freedom. But make no mistake, it is a prison. Lust is not merely a desire, it is a destroyer of empires, a thief of dreams, and the killer of potential. It whispers lies, tempts with illusion, and drains the very power you need to rise. But understand this, the energy behind lust is not evil, it is raw power. The question is, will it master you, or will you master it? Today I will give you 5 steps to conquer lust, not to suppress your energy, but to transmute it, to rise above impulse and into powerful, purposeful living. Because if you can win this inner war, if you can discipline the flesh and elevate the mind, there is nothing, absolutely nothing that can stop you from achieving greatness. Let us begin. Lust thrives in the absence of direction. When a man walks without purpose, he becomes a playground for his impulses. His energy is scattered, his will is weak, and every temptation becomes a detour. But when a man is driven by a clear, burning purpose, a definite chief aim, his inner compass shifts. He no longer chases fleeting pleasures because his mind is fixed on something far greater. Definite purpose is the blueprint of champions. It is the mental blueprint you return to every morning before the world has a chance to distract you. It is the reason you rise early and the fire that keeps you working late. When you possess it, your life becomes a mission, and your actions are no longer dictated by mood, emotion, or impulse, but by vision. Without purpose, lust is loud. It demands your attention. It knocks on the door of your mind, selling fantasies and short-term satisfaction. But with purpose, you no longer have time for trivial pursuits. You recognize the cost of indulgence. You know what's at stake. Every minute wasted in vice is a minute stolen from your mission. Purpose doesn't remove temptation. It renders it powerless, because when your vision is so vivid that you can see it, taste it, and feel it, when you've decided that nothing will stand between you and the man you are becoming, lust becomes a petty distraction. You look it in the eye and say, I have work to do. Definite purpose creates order in your life. It clarifies what matters and what doesn't. You stop seeking escape through pleasure because you've found fulfillment in pursuit. You stop craving the next dopamine hit because your soul is fed by progress. You're no longer trying to feel better, you're trying to be better. Every empire was built by men who lived for something greater than comfort. Every legacy was carved by those who refused to trade their future for a few moments of gratification. Your purpose must become your obsession. It must be so alive within you that it becomes louder than every whisper of weakness. When you walk in purpose, you're not running from lust, you're rising above it. You're not escaping temptation. You're too consumed by your vision to notice it. Lust is not your enemy. It is your untamed energy. It is the unrefined fuel of creation, the raw force that, when left unchanneled, manifests as obsession, addiction, and regret. But when harnessed, when consciously directed, it becomes a weapon of unimaginable power. This is the law of transmutation, to take the same energy that could destroy a man and instead use it to build empires. Understand this. Lust is not just a physical urge. It is creative life force. It is the fire that drives men to chase, to pursue, to conquer. It is the same force that gives birth to art, to invention, to movement. The only difference between a man controlled by lust and a man who channels it lies in the direction of that energy. The man ruled by lust is reactive. He is pulled by every temptation like a leaf in the wind. He wastes his energy in moments of pleasure only to feel emptier than before. But the man who learns to transmute that energy becomes magnetic. His presence intensifies. His eyes hold vision. His voice carries weight. People don't just see him, they feel him. Transmutation begins with awareness. You must become conscious of your urges and refuse to let them control you. But more than that, you must redirect them. Every time the urge arises, do not run from it. Use it. Let it fuel your grind. Let it push you to the gym. Let it drive you deeper into your craft, your business, your calling. Take that pulse of energy and pour it into something that matters. This is not suppression. This is elevation. You're not ignoring your biology. You're upgrading your psychology. You're telling your subconscious mind, this energy is mine. I choose where it goes. I choose what it builds. And when you do that, you begin to walk with an intensity that others cannot explain. You begin to operate with a fire that no one can put out. History remembers the men who mastered this principle, the inventors, the leaders, the visionaries. They didn't eliminate their desires, they converted them. They burned with passion, but it was a passion for purpose, a hunger for greatness, a desire not to consume, but to create. When you transmute lust, you take your weakness and forge it into power. You take your deepest impulses and use them as rocket fuel. Every time you choose discipline over indulgence, you add pressure to the diamond that is forming within you. This energy, this force, was never meant to be wasted. It was meant to be transformed. It was meant to be weaponized. It was meant to build, to break limits, to birth legacies. The battlefield of life is first won in the mind. Every victory, every defeat, every breakthrough, every downfall, it all begins with thought. What you allow to live in your mind will eventually show up in your habits, your decisions, and ultimately your destiny. And so, the man who cannot command his own thoughts will never command his future. The mind is your most powerful weapon, or your most dangerous enemy. It is the control center of your reality. What you feed it, it multiplies. What you dwell on, you attract, and what you believe, you become. That is why controlling your thoughts is not optional, it is essential. Lust begins in the mind long before it ever becomes action. It begins with an image, a fantasy, a memory, a passing thought. And if you do not take it captive, if you let it linger and marinate, it grows, it gains strength. And soon the thought becomes a craving, and the craving becomes a behavior. But here's the truth. The same way it grew in your mind is the same way it can be uprooted. Mastery begins with mental discipline. You must treat your mind like sacred ground. You don't allow weeds to grow. You don't allow poison to remain. You guard it. You filter what enters. You reject what weakens you. Every thought must pass through the gates of purpose and power. If it does not serve your mission, it does not stay. To master your mind, you must study it, watch it, learn its patterns, notice what triggers your urges, notice the thoughts that lead you down the wrong path. Become a detective of your own psychology. Once you see the patterns, you gain the power to rewrite them. This is the art of self-command. You do not wait for your mind to be motivated. You train it to obey. You tell it what to think. You shape it daily through repetition, through focus, through relentless mental conditioning. Just as the body is sculpted through physical training, the mind is forged through deliberate, conscious thought. When negative or lustful thoughts arise, don't fight them, replace them, override them with purpose. Speak truth out loud if you have to. Declare your identity, declare your goals, declare your standard. You must interrupt the thought pattern before it becomes emotional energy, before it takes root. And understand this. The world is designed to distract you. Every scroll, every screen, every notification is a weapon aimed at your mind. You must become ruthless about what you consume. Garbage in, garbage out. If you're feeding your mind with images and messages that stir up lust, don't be surprised when your thoughts betray you. Your input is creating your reality. Train your mind like a warrior prepares for battle. Meditation, visualization, affirmation, silence, intention. Every practice that strengthens your mental grip brings you closer to mastery. Because the man who owns his mind cannot be owned by anything else. Not lust, not fear, not failure, not doubt. The man who thinks with clarity, who sees with vision, who chooses his thoughts with precision, that man becomes unstoppable. He is no longer reacting to the world, he is directing it from within. He is no longer a slave to fleeting emotion. He is a commander of his. The environment you inhabit shapes the very person you become. It is more than the physical space around you. It is the people you associate with, the media you consume, the conversations you engage in, and the thoughts that you are constantly exposed to. The truth is, you are a reflection of your environment, and if you want to change who you are, you must begin by transforming the space that influences you. Think of your mind as a garden. You can plant seeds of greatness, but if the soil is poisoned by negativity, distractions, and unhealthy influences, those seeds will struggle to grow. The people around you, the places you visit, the content you absorb, all of these feed your subconscious mind and determine what thoughts will take root. If you want to conquer lust, If you want to elevate yourself beyond impulse and weakness, you must begin by crafting an environment that aligns with your highest vision. The man who lives in a chaotic, disorganized space will find it nearly impossible to harness clarity and discipline. Likewise, the man who surrounds himself with those who lack ambition, who indulge in toxic habits, will find his own potential stunted. Your environment must be a reflection of the person you are becoming, not the person you were yesterday. This is why, when you are in pursuit of greatness, your associations must be deliberate. Every person you spend time with either propels you forward or holds you back. If you surround yourself with people who elevate your thinking, who challenge your limits, who hold you to a higher standard, you will naturally rise. But if you remain in the company of those who indulge in the same old distractions, who praise mediocrity and glorify weakness, you will find yourself slipping back into old habits. This principle is a law of nature. We become like those we spend the most time with. If you are constantly in the presence of temptation, you will be constantly tempted. If you are constantly immersed in negative influences, you will become a product of that negativity. On the other hand, if you place yourself in an environment of focus, ambition, and success, your desires will naturally realign with your greater purpose. Start by eliminating the toxic, seductive elements of your life. Remove the distractions. Cut off the people who drain your energy. If necessary, change your social circles entirely. It may feel uncomfortable at first, but it is a necessary step to guard your mind and your soul. The more you expose yourself to greatness, the more it becomes second nature to you. Consider the spaces you spend the most time in. Are they places that nurture your growth, or are they places where indulgence thrives? Are you spending your time in environments that cultivate discipline, focus, and growth? Or are you consistently drawn into places where lust and distraction reign supreme? If you want to conquer lust, start by changing the places that spark it. Remove yourself from environments where you are tempted to fall back into old habits. And more importantly, create environments that nurture your highest self. Fill your space with books that inspire, people who challenge you, and habits that align with your purpose. Your environment must be your fortress. Build it, strengthen it, protect it. Every element within it should serve your mission. Whether it's the music you listen to, the videos you watch, the conversations you engage in, everything you expose yourself to has a profound impact on the trajectory of your life. The person who has mastered his environment will find that distractions become irrelevant. The environment that once triggered weaknesses becomes a space that supports strength. It becomes the breeding ground for your highest achievements, not the place where your lower desires can thrive. Discipline is not a trait, it is a lifestyle. It is the muscle that every man must develop if he intends to reach the heights he envisions. Without it, dreams remain fantasies. Without it, talent withers in obscurity. Without it, purpose fades and greatness remains forever out of reach. The greatest gift a man can give himself is not motivation, it is the ability to act regardless of how he feels in the moment. Motivation is fleeting. It comes in waves, rising and falling with the tides of emotion. But discipline? Discipline is a choice, a conscious decision to stay true to your mission no matter what. It is the constant effort to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. Discipline is the bridge between desire and achievement. It is what turns abstract dreams into concrete results. It is the habit of doing what others won't, especially when the temptation to indulge is strong. The world is filled with people who have big ideas, but only a few who are disciplined enough to see them through. The difference between the two is simple. One group talks about what they want. The other group wakes up every day and earns it. Consider the man who wants to conquer lust. It is not enough to simply have the desire to change. You must have the discipline to act on that desire. You must have the courage to say no when temptation knocks, to resist when the urge to indulge rises like a tide inside you. Lust does not go away just because you wish it would. It must be overpowered by the strength of your discipline. Every time you make a disciplined choice, you are building the life you want. Every time you say no to short-term gratification, you are laying the foundation for long-term success. This is not a battle that can be won in a single moment. It is won in the day-to-day, in the quiet moments of resolve when no one is watching. Discipline is what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. It is what turns average individuals into legends. A person with discipline will rise early when others sleep in. They will work tirelessly when others take shortcuts. They will say no to temporary pleasures because they know that true fulfillment comes from purpose, not from fleeting satisfaction. The great achievers of history were not driven by emotions or whims. They were driven by something far stronger, discipline. They understood that success is not a one-time event. It is the sum total of every small, disciplined decision they made. It is waking up when the bed calls to you, working when your body begs for rest, and focusing when your mind craves distraction. To build discipline is to build the very foundation of your greatness. It is the ability to tell yourself, I will not quit, I will not falter, I will not give in. This is the mindset of champions, the mindset that says, I am in control, and I will not let momentary urges determine my future. Discipline does not just apply to moments of weakness either. It applies to every area of your life. It is the commitment to show up every day, to be consistent, to push beyond limits. It is the ability to maintain focus when the world is full of distractions. It is the strength to push forward when every bone in your body tells you to stop. It is the understanding that success is not about comfort. It is about sacrifice and relentless action. When you choose discipline, you choose to become the best version of yourself. And while others may find shortcuts, take easy routes, and indulge in distractions, you will walk the disciplined path, knowing that it is the only one that leads to lasting greatness. And so, my friends, the road to conquering lust, to rising above temptation, is not a road of suppression. It is a road of transformation. It is the road of taking raw, untamed energy and turning it into something powerful, purposeful, and unstoppable. It is the road of choosing definite purpose over fleeting desire, of mastering your thoughts and actions, of creating an environment that supports your greatness, and of building an unshakable foundation of discipline. Each of these steps is a brick in the fortress of your success. It is through purpose that you will find direction. It is through transmutation that you will harness your power. It is through mind control that you will become the master of your destiny. It is through environment that you will surround yourself with greatness. And it is through discipline that you will execute your vision day after day until you stand in the fullness of your potential. Do not mistake this journey for an easy one, but understand this. Greatness is not for the weak of heart. It is for those who dare to rise above their impulses, who choose to walk with purpose, who refuse to let distractions rule their lives. It is for those who are willing to pay the price today to live a life of meaning tomorrow. So the question now stands, will you commit to the path of mastery, or will you allow lust to control you? The power is in your hands. The choice is yours. And with every step you take in mastering yourself, you are not just conquering an urge, you are crafting the life you were always meant to live. Take control, rise above, and let your greatness shine.